time to look at my top indie comic picks for New Comic Book Day, March 2nd, 2022. Welcome back. Let's hop into this. Before we get to the top 10 new issues coming out, I have two things I want to talk about that are also coming out this New Comic Book Day. And that first up is Stake trade paperback for Volume 1. This one coming from Scout Comics, written by David Byrne with art from Francesca Fantini. This is a really cool vampire hunting story, modern day vampire tale, following exploits of a teenage vampire hunter who missed growing up when vampires stole her formative years. Now, with help of her ancient vampire mentor, she hunts the same vampires while sharing her life on social media. Great story, lots of fun. So I recommend you guys check this one out and pick it up this week when it releases. And the second one I want to point out before getting into the top 10 is a reprint. And this one is for Duel, #1 from Bliss on Tap. This one was a really low printed first print and sold out super quick, got real hot on release day, and it's a great story. Are you ready to duel? In the first issue, we meet an FBI agent tasked with investigating the mysterious deep website Duel.global, which pits its growing number of subscribers against each other in real life in a race to stop a high schooler who has challenged the site's highest ranked dueler in a match to the death. So this is your chance to pick this up on the reprint so you can check out this cool story from Bliss on Tap Comics. So coming into the top 10, I have at number 10 from Image Comics, Crossover number 12 from Donny Cates, Dee Cunniffe, John J. Hill, and Jeff Shaw. This has gotten crazy towards the end here. And if I'm not mistaken, we're going to be heading towards issue 13. Sounds like it's going to be the last issue based on the description I was reading. I could be wrong, but weird thing. The last or next issue of What's the Furthest Place from Here mentions crossover, and then crossover's talking about What's the Furthest Place from Here in their descriptions. I don't know if it has anything to do with the story that's going on in either issue, but it is cool that they're kind of cross promoting here in their descriptions. But yeah, crossover number 12 is my number 10 pick for indie comics coming up this week. And number 9, I have A Thing Called Truth, number 5 of 5. This one from Yolanda Zanfardino and Alyssa Rombelli. Image Comics putting this one out as well, and it has been such a fun story. This is the last issue of the miniseries. A promise to never talk about the past is worthless when deep down you don't want to keep it. Dorian will find the courage to tell Mag about her past and her possible future, but her confession may have some totally unexpected consequences. So it's following this doctor, not medical doctor, but like research kind of doctor, who has essentially gotten fired. Her company stole her work. She goes on a kind of a little bit of a bender and drinking, and ends up accidentally kidnapped in a car by the other character here, Dorian. Dorian. And they have a little road trip across Europe. She wakes up in Mag wakes up in a different country. And it's a really fun story that's gonna be headed probably somewhere really emotional here in the last issue. But we've gotten a little bit of that going on too, and I've enjoyed every second of reading this story. So coming to an end here, issue 5 of 5. So go and check out this series if you haven't already. So for number 8, I've got one from Vault Comics, Last Book You'll Ever Read, issue number 5 from Colin Bunn and Layla Lays. This one, we haven't had an issue in a while, probably because of some printing delays, but it's back. As the wilding continues to change the world, enemies close in on Olivia and Connor. Given sanctuary by believers who hang on her every word, Olivia gets a glimpse of what humanity is truly becoming. Her fans, though, might prove every bit as dangerous as the people who want her dead. So this one is really cool, interesting story. We've got essentially a book that as people are reading it, they're going mad, they're going crazy, their inner demons are coming out and coming and trying to attack our main character Olivia here. And there's something interesting going on with her too, I think. So can't wait to see where the rest of this story goes. We got issue number 5 this week though, and it is my number 8 pick for New Comic Book Day for Indie Comics. So number 6, I've got Swamp Dogs House of Crows number 2 from J.M. Brandt, Theo Presidius, and Kuberball and Robert Samelin from the Black Caravan imprint of Scout Comics. And just the other day, I had J.M. Brandt on the channel, and we talked about Swamp Dogs. We talked about horror comics and movies and all of that. So go give this one a read. Issue 1 should be on shelves at your comic shop. It came out 2 to 3 months ago. Usually it's 2 months with Scout's books, but there have been delays, so it might be 3 or 4 months ago, actually. It was around middle end of last year. But we have young lovers Ayana and Violet sneaking away for more erotic passion in the bayou. Meanwhile, metal band The Grunch gear up to find a spooky place to shoot a music video. Both groups gravitate towards the abominable Maison du Cornelis. I just probably butchered that. Last place many of them will ever know. Love, jokes, voodoo, creepy kids, and the undead. Get ready to start shrieking in delight and fear. I've gotten to read issue 2 from a advanced copy, and it was phenomenal. Wow. Very great. Phenomenal. Super creepy things happening in this issue. We're getting more of our dead rising up. And is it just zombies or is something else going on? We got some voodoo happening here in the swamps of Louisiana. So don't miss this series. It's a great series for anybody who's a fan of horror. From what I understand, coming up in the issue after this, we're going to get more into what happened that brought these zombies, we'll say, back to life, the voodoo part, who these swamp dogs are. And yeah, I can't wait to see what else is going to happen, what other twists are going to be thrown our way. But this issue, we really do get a lot on the band that we haven't seen a whole lot of yet. And we got a little bit more of our 2 main girls here, Ayana and Violet. So it's my number 7 pick for New Comic Book Day for Indie Comics coming up this week. I might have extra books in here because I'm seeing the number I got left does not quite match. Oh, I know. Yeah. So that technically should be number 8. My numbers are going to be off because I do have 11 books in here. So number 7 then is New Burn, issue number 4 from Chip Zdarsky and Jacob Phillips with a backup story by Nadia Shamas and Zayed Yusuf Ayoub. A cop is dead and none of the families claim responsibility. New Burn will have to tread carefully or else he might be next. Plus the conclusion of Brooklyn Zirconia, our backup story. I've been really enjoying this. The art is fantastic. I love Chip Zdarsky's writing. I didn't think I was going to like this genre, but I'm in on this book because of how good his writing is, and the art from Jacob Phillips is fantastic. So New Burn number 4 from Image Comics is my 7th pick for Indie Comics for New Comic Book Day. Coming for number 6 is Noctera number 8 from Image Comics. Scott Snyder, Tony S. Daniel, killing this story. Absolutely killing this. I've loved every second of the Noctera story so far. And we're on to the 2nd issue of the new story arc. Deadliest hunters in the world become the hunted as the ferrymen take matters into their own hands. And Blacktop Bill sees the light as these 2 treacherous journeys lead on. There's some previews pages even up already for this issue, so be sure to go check that out. All that right there. Looking like we are going to have a crazy time coming up here. And Blacktop Bill bringing the chaos as always. So my number 6 pick, Noctera number 8. Number 5's got to go to the return of the nice house on the lake from James Tynan and Alvaro Martinez Bueno. I've really been missing this series. I didn't think it, but we kind of had a reset at the end, right? That was very interesting how they did that. And we're starting over, a different configuration in the house. Things are kind of creepy, what's been going on. So one of the most critically acclaimed best-selling horror titles of 2021 returning for its shocking second act. Now is the perfect time to enter the house. The 10 hardy survivors gathered in the house by their mutual friend Walter thought they'd finally cracked the code on his plans. Now everything they thought they knew is literally changed. Can they free themselves from the patterns, or are they all just determined to build a prison of their very own? Grab the first collected volume and get caught up on the most surprising series in comics. So trade paperback for volume 1 is also coming out this new comic book day. Technically, this one's coming out on 3/1 instead of 3/2 like everything else because it's lunar. But yeah, it's back. It's back. So Nice House on the Lake number 7 is my number 5 pick for top indie comics this week. Coming in for number 4 is the end of a really fun fantasy series from Behemoth Comics imprint Happy Tank Comics. We have Night Janek number 3 of 3 here from Robert Sinecki, Jan Mazur, Spell, and Igor Wolski. The Duke who took control of the kingdom of Fancyland is now putting his evil, mega, diabolical plan to execution. We know you weren't ready for that. This creep is wearing a medieval Iron Man suit to fight Knight Janek. Will our hero succeed in saving the kingdom? We are one final gore fest from knowing it. So it's kind of like I almost feel like he's a reluctant hero too. He did not want to get involved with this, but he did get kind of thrown into the situation. And now our evildoer is putting to work his almost like blood mines is what it seems like. He's doing some crazy stuff. And this is just a real cool fantasy series. If you're into the fantasy genre, I highly recommend you check out Knight Janek. And issue 3 is coming out this week, so you could read through it all together, get all 3 issues, and have a fun time in this world. So number 4 on my list this week is Knight Janek number 3. And coming in at number 3 this week, we've got Buckhead number 4. We kind of flip-flop the numbers there. This one from Shobo Coker and George Kamadias. We are on issue 4 of 5 for this series from Boom Studios. Toba and his friends have come up with a plan to save Buckhead and Toba's dad. With security at school tighter than expected, the friends must split up. Which, pause there. We always know splitting up is going to lead to something going bad, right? Plunging Toba into the Elseverse while the rest race to disable the transmitter controlling the town. Even if Toba finds his father, as well as the means to potentially save the town, the battle for Buckhead has only begun. And this is one of 2 stories that Shobo Coker's got out right now. New masters over at Image Comics as well. I'm really enjoying his writing so far. So highly recommend checking this one out. It is a boombox title, so younger audience targeted, but I feel like that's not even necessarily targeted for younger audience. It's just safe for a younger audience to read and family friendly, but it is a really fun read if you are not a child as well. So Buckhead number 4 of 5 is my number 3 pick for New Comic Book Days Indie Comics. Coming in at number 2, new one from Image Comics set in the world that Radiant Black is set in. This is Rogue Sun from Ryan Parrott, Abel, Chris O'Halloran, and Declan Shalvey doing the cover art here. Yesterday, New Orleans' greatest hero, Rogue Sun, was murdered. Today, rebellious teenager Dylan Siegel discovers that Rogue Sun was his estranged father, Marcus, and that he's inherited his father's mantle. Tasked with protecting our world from the forces of the supernatural and solving his father's murder, Dylan will be forced to come to terms with the man he spent the majority of his life hating. From acclaimed writer Ryan Parrott and rising star Abel, comes a supernatural murder mystery that explores the complicated bond between father and son and cements itself squarely in the corner of the Image Comics superhero universe. So, if I'm remembering correctly, when we just had our crossover issue that had Rogue Sun, had Dragon Girl Red and Radiant Black, right? Supermassive. I'm pretty sure the name of the Rogue Sun in that was Marcus, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm wondering the time period that this is going to be set in, if that was happening in kind of present day. So be interesting to see what's going on with the world here. But living in New Orleans right now, I'm really interested in reading a story set in New Orleans about a cool superhero. So it's my number 2 pick this week for Indie Comics for New Comic Book Day. And you guys know this has to be my number 1 pick this week because absolutely loved the first part of this series. Kind of changes the channel name to reflect how much we liked it. And that was You Promised Me Darkness. So the follow-up series, Follow Me Into the Darkness. Number 1 is my number 1 pick this week. This one from Damian Connolly, doing the art, writing the story. I am super excited about this. This is more of his awesome black and white art. I love this style. I loved how crazy that first story was. And now we're going to see what happens next in the world. Less than a day until the apocalypse. The darkness guides Yuko and Sebastian to Alaska. There, they will look for a girl who lives hiding in the forest and who may be the key to prevent the imminent final judgment. Meanwhile, the children of the comet face a new and peculiar threat in Colosimo's Chinatown. Super excited for this. There's a lot of cool covers for this. I can pop up a couple more here. Cover B, I really love the cover B here. Super cool. And we got a cover C, all of them by Damian, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that because I think in the first series there were some that weren't done by him, but yeah, looks like mostly done by him here, or all done by him, except here Michael Calero doing this one, which is super cool. This is a 1 in 10 cover for Follow Me Into the Darkness. In the first series, we had just a 1 in 5 with the on a Shadowcat variant there. And we also have a sketch cover on this one. So if you want to get a sketch cover and try to get an artist to do some cool art for it, there's your chance. There's a limited edition cover, which I don't know if this is the art or if this is just a placeholder for the art, but it's the Cover G limited edition. And yeah, that's it. So lots of cool covers there. I'm super excited for this follow-up. Damian is a very good writer and artist, so very much looking forward to checking out the follow-up here and seeing what happens next into this awesome world. So go check this out. If you haven't already read You Promised Me Darkness, go pick up the trade paperback that came out last week. If your shop doesn't have it, probably find it on behemothcomics.com or any other, shop online. So go check it out and read it. You will not regret checking out this crazy, crazy world. So that is my last pick. That is my number 1 pick for New Comic Book Day. So thank you for watching this video and listening along as I talk about the books I'm looking forward to reading this week, especially focus on our indie comics that want to shine a spotlight on. So as always, collect what you love, and I'll see you next time.